The head of the Electoral Commission, Simon BYABAKAMA, is continuing to show partisanship. In fact, the more he speaks out, is the more he shows how the candidate he favors in this election. That candidate is General Kaguta Museveni. For the head of the Electoral Commission to come out and start attacking a slogan of a political party, to an extent of coming out to say that after voting, you go away, the Constitution tells us to stay 20 meters around. It clearly shows you that the incompetent BYABAKAMA should not be presiding over our election. In fact, BYABAKAMA came out and said this. I want you to listen very carefully because it's going to form a basis of our discussion. Here is the tape.
Now I've had this campaign which is trending, the Akalulu Kanonye, Akalulu Kalonde, Akalulu Kakume, Atokavanje. That's what is trending now. Now you ask yourself,
what is your interpretation to this?
Yes, look, Kanonye means look for votes. Perfect. That's what the candidates are doing. That's what their agents are doing. That's what their supporters are doing. You are acting within the law to look for votes, but acting within the law. That is okay. 2, Kalonde, in other words, go and vote. Perfect. Any candidate who is urging his supporters to go and vote on polling day, I give you 100%. Perfect. That's what elections are about. Let every registered voter go to the polling station you are supposed to vote from and cast your vote. Kakume, because that's where the challenge now comes in. Some people are saying, when you finish voting, don't go away. Remain there. We must protect our vote. Remain there. You must remain there. We must protect our vote.
First of all, the reasons why people should protect their vote, both General Kaguta Museveni and Bobi Wine have ever come out to say that their vote was stolen. In fact, if they all agree that their vote was stolen, BYABAKAMA wouldn't have been the presiding officer of this election, because it's written that it shows incompetence. Both candidates, the winner, the purported winner, and the first runners-up come out to say that the vote was election, and you still come out to speak utter nonsense. So you clearly see that the slogan of People Power is being attacked, the slogan of NUP, by none other than the commissioner. In fact, I would forgive maybe if those statements were being said by the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission. But those statements being said by the presiding officer of the election in the names of the incompetent BYABAKAMA, it shows that there is some sinister motive. Okay? So, let's continue with the video.
That Kavanje, in other words, demand for your vote. Now, that's where the challenge comes in. Because according to the law, because they are saying you cannot tell people to go away, BYABAKAMA, because they have got to remain to protect their votes. We don't trust what will happen at the polling station. But we have said the polling station has people who are designated and recognized in law to be present throughout, and those are the agents of the candidates. And each candidate is entitled to 2 agents per polling station. And Section 35 of the Presidential Elections Act says a candidate may be present in person or through his or her representative or polling agent at each polling station. Listen to this. For the purposes of safeguarding the interests of the candidate with regard to the polling process. For the presence of the agent is for purposes of safeguarding the interests of the candidate. So, you know, this is the vote protector, the agent. Because he has said his or her presence is for purposes of safeguarding the interests of the candidate with regard to the polling process at a polling station. Now, you have 8 presidential candidates. Each one is entitled to 2. How many are those? 16. You have 10 or 15 parliamentary candidates. And because presidential and parliamentary elections are taking place the same day. 15 times 2, those are already 30. Plus 16, you have 46 vote protectors inside the polling station. Because these ones are permitted to be inside the polling stations throughout. But for you who is a voter, who has cast your vote, and you are not an agent, Although the law says you can stand 20 meters away from the polling station, and that's what they are saying. BYABAKAMA, how can you refuse people to be at the polling station when the law says they should be there? Granted, the law says you should be there. But what is your role after you have cast your vote? What is your role? Now, some of their leaders are misleading them to say, you are the ones who are going to protect our vote. Be there so that you protect our vote.
So, first of all, that is a rhetoric. Even if a polling station is going to have 1,000 people, let them be there. If you have nothing to hide, what prevents you from letting people be around? And this comes at a backdrop, as I've already told you, that General Museveni came out to say that they stole his 2.7 million vote, which is a fallacy, because he's not consistent. At first he said 1 million vote. The opposition is saying the same. If we stick by the law, people are supposed to be around 20 meters. In the first clip, BYABAKAMA even came out to say that even 20 meters are not allowed, that people should vote and go home. The same script the CDF is reading. It's like they are reading from the same textbook. So for me, I keep on telling people that democracy everywhere is fought for. It's not given. And the people are the ones supposed to fight for democracy. BYABAKAMA, basing on the statements he makes, is already partisan. In fact, these statements should have been told by maybe the spokesperson, who would have maybe had a different engagement. But for a presiding officer, the head of the Electoral Commission, to come out and start saying those statements which are aimed at the leadership of the NUP and the opposition, it shows how partisan our electoral process is. The same guy keeps on keeping quiet whenever the police attacks candidates. He rushed to speak about Chagran's buying maize, but he doesn't do the same when President Museveni or other candidates do the same. So we clearly see the biasness, the pettiness of the Electoral Commission. I keep on telling people that Uganda has a history of a civil war because of elections. If we fail to handle our elections well, it may not be the last. I personally, I'm not asking for a civil war. I don't even pray for it, because it's one of the worst things that would happen for the country. But it can be inevitable if you continue acting this way. Of course, that's my opinion. Remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi, Kabir Sulaiman Mawagali. I will see you on another one. Peace.